linked to treatment fees. Immigration Department keeps close tabs on foreign workers. And ACP Henry Brown cleared of allegations and takes up new post. A very good evening. Cataract and diabetes have been identified as the two major causes of blindness in the country. It's a problem that's common around the region, and as Halitestat finds out, ignorance has proven to be a hindrance for many in terms of seeking proper medical assistance.
Between 70 to 80% of eyesight problems in the country are due to cataracts. More than 20% of complications to eyesight are due to diabetes, the second major cause of blindness here.
Though it's serious, for cataract it's treatable. We can do an operation, you can have your vision again. For diabetes, it's very serious. When it reaches the stage where we can't treat it, you're going to lose your sight. So the message for diabetes is to prevent it happening, or to prevent your diabetes getting to a complicated stage.
The Pacific Eye Institute, together with the Health Ministry, is now advocating for eye wellness. Observations have shown that people are usually reluctant to get their eyes checked.
Some areas we find that though they have a treatable condition in the eye, like cataracts, the myth of saying that it's due to aging, and the family don't support them to bring the patients to where eye services is provided. It's another hindrance. So we have to advocate and educate people.
Another challenge faced is access to our rural folk.
This year we did four outreaches in Fiji. The fourth one is coming up. And they visited Ba, Lambasa. Okay, so at least they provide services there. But then most of the people that are blind are living in the rurals. How to get them is the problem. So we need to train human resource here. So that's why Pacific Eye Institute is doing a lot of training.
Since majority of eye complications are curable, the general public have been urged to seek medical assistance at the earliest. Halitestat, Fiji One News.
Meanwhile, tomorrow marks World Sight Day. And as the name suggests, it's an event that will be commemorated worldwide. A team from the Health Ministry are also in Boer this week to conduct eye tests.
The team we have for this year is focusing back on World Health Organization Global Action Plan for 2014 and 2019, which is the theme is Universal Eye Health. And this team will be running for the next few years.
And authorities are calling on the public to be proactive and get their eyes checked.
It's something that we should promote in a sense to everybody. Is there are causes of blindness that is avoidable, that is preventable, and can be treatable. Okay, so if you have a poor vision, you better go for a checkup.
There's been an increase in the number of work permits issued by the Immigration Department. A new work permit committee is now in place, and their job is to ensure that those who come to Fiji for work purposes have to follow the conditions set out in their permits. Drew reports.
The Immigration Department, along with other government agencies, are now closely monitoring all work permits that have been handed out. They are now meeting weekly to see that proper contract procedures are in place before they give their final approval.
The committee sits and deliberates on all work permits, all applications, and used to emphasize to the members of the committee that that the decisions that we make within this committee is quite a big decision because of the fact that the questions been raised by members of the public.
With close to 1,000 people working on various projects around the country, they have put measures in place to ensure that employees' rights are protected.
Once they meet the requirements, all the requirements have to be met, police report, medical report, and all those. And once all those requirements, then the permit is issued.
While a lot of questions have been asked about the high number of foreign workers in the country, the Immigration Department maintains that they are satisfied with what the reason given for their stay here.
All these other projects that have mostly construction, we have a lot of foreigners, and in that case, the Chinese, because they are a Chinese company, there's a lot of Chinese coming into the country.
Up until last month, 916 work permits had been issued. Ndrebukelangi, Fiji One News.
Assistant Commissioner of Police Henry Brown has been appointed head of the Fiji Police's Strategic Planning, Policy, Research and Development Unit. The unit is one of Police's newly established sections. The appointment was made by the Acting Commissioner of Police, Ravi Narayan. Narayan says Brown's vast operational experience in leading such a vital arm of the organization was a great asset for the organization. And accepting his appointment, ACP Brown said he's ready for the challenge ahead and hopes his years of experience will be reflected in his new role. ACP Brown had recently been cleared of allegations of corrupt practices. All media organizations and personnel operating here with the intention of disseminating information to the public must be registered with the Fiji Media Industry and Development Authority. This now means that freelance journalists have to register with the authority. The authority has given these freelance journalists until the first quarter of next year to register.
It's a work in progress. So in the next 3 months, like we said, we'll roll out programs that they need to be registered come before 2014. So that's really, because as we set out the programs, we need to know who's doing what.
And media organizations and their personnel have been urged to familiarize themselves with the relevant laws as the nation heads towards elections next year. And the Fiji Media Industry Development Authority has urged these media outlets to start with the 2013 Constitution.
Journalists will have to familiarize themselves with the 2013 Constitution. It has been a month since the Supreme Law of the land was released, and there's expectations on the media to work within its provisions and requirements.
How is the media addressing and representing questions of race, gender, sexuality, and children? I want us to start taking that very seriously. Is the media industry up to scratch with these developments, or are its actions emptying out the meanings of these provisions?
But journalists were reminded today not to focus solely on Constitution, as they also have to be well versed with the Media Industry Decree of 2010.
It has become apparent to us from numerous complaints in the last 2 months that I've been holding this position with the authority that the media industry and journalists are not taking full cognizance of the decree. The decree, I would like to assert, is not simply for power brokers, but for each and every one of you, the foot soldiers who make news every day.
Raj says it's important that the media understands the media code, advertising, political advertising and content regulations.
Seriously start addressing some of these things which are really, really retrogressive. I see no reason how or why we would make that break and start thinking through some of the democratic values seriously if we're still stuck with retrogressive notions.
The MIDA will also conduct a series of training for local journalists to enhance their level of understanding of various laws. Halitesh Dutt, Fiji One News.
And you can watch the extended interview with the new MIDA chairman, Ashwin Raj, on our Fiji One News YouTube page. Just click www.youtube.com or visit our Fiji One Facebook page. And the important role of the media was once again highlighted today. The focus this time was on the media's role during natural disasters.
These are the people who are usually on the ground disseminating critical information to the masses during any natural disaster. Since Fiji faced 3 major natural disasters last year, this week's professional development training was timely, given that the cyclone season is just around the corner.
The role of the journalists are very important because they are the one who raise awareness on different aspects of why disasters happen and what can be done, what are the solutions, to prevent them. So this type of training is just, trying to highlight a couple of things that they can do to raise awareness on what can be done before a disaster happens, before a hazard turns into a disaster.
The UN ISDR has also had discussions with the National Disaster Management Office. The United Nations body has put forward some recommendations on ways to better coordinate efforts during natural disasters.
The journalists were requesting that media focal point could be integrated in the management committee, actually, and they could be heard and they could be present, you know, but before a disaster happens. So when a disaster happens, obviously they will know exactly, you know, what they need, and they can better inform their audiences, and I think it's very important.
For media organizations and journalists here, it's all about sharing information in a timely manner during any natural disaster.
And the demands increase. For journalists, for the media organization, they need to understand that that is their responsibility. At that time of need, when people need comfort, people need to feel secure, they will turn to us.
Reflecting on the technological era we now live in, Narayan says the social media also has a huge part to play in getting the information across.
For example, 10 years ago, we wouldn't be talking about Facebook, we wouldn't be talking about Twitter, but this is about moving ahead and ensuring that we are giving credible information from the right sources of information to the people of Fiji who need it the most.
The week-long training culminated today with these journalists enhancing their sense of reporting during natural disasters. Halitesh Dutt, Fiji One News.
And Post Fiji brings out the country's first ever mailbox. Hello again, we apologize for the audio problems earlier. Leading this segment, the stage is set for Fiji's 43rd independence celebrations here in the capital. With the final checks done, the Permanent Secretary for Information is happy with how things are progressing so far, not only in the capital city, but also in other centres around the country.
We have a military display. His Excellency the President will be there. There's entertainment. We also have entertainment in Nasuri, different things happening out there. Lavuka, it's exciting because, as we know, it's been listed as a World Heritage Site, so this will be the first Fiji Day that they'll celebrate under as being a heritage listed site, so that's really good. Lots of entertainment. Public and private sector are really getting behind Fiji Day this year. There'll be displays at the different centres, so yeah, it's going really well.
The Permanent Secretary is also urging the public to join in the celebration as we mark this historic occasion.
So we're encouraging all people and businesses to put up the flag, to dress in blue tomorrow, and to really celebrate the day. So the more flags we've got flying, the better it is, the nicer it'll be for everybody.
Meanwhile, celebrations in the West reflected on the progress made since independence more than 4 decades ago. As Madhimbole Tamana reports, the younger generation have been urged to take stock of the good qualities instilled by their community leaders and parents to pave a new way forward for Fiji.
The carnival atmosphere outside Churchill Park was unmistakable as school children, government workers, the private sector and the general public came in numbers to celebrate on the eve of Fiji's 43rd year of independence.
Today we celebrate our coming of age as a nation. And as we celebrate, we remember and thank those that has helped shape the nation that we are today.
The minister shared his experiences of life as a youngster in the islands when Fiji was first declared an independent state on 10th October 1970.
And we were gathered on the school ground on the island of Watoa. As we stood there, we heard the sound of an airplane approaching, and all of a sudden, this military aircraft flew over us at a very low altitude and dropped miniature Fiji flags and pineapple-shaped plastic bottles of juice.
Students took center stage with their items and kept the over 1,000 vocal crowd who braved the blistering heat to share in the festivities well entertained.
We thank the teachers for their tireless efforts in ensuring that we continue to have an educated society. And on that note, we all wish our teachers a happy Teachers' Day, even though it had passed on October the 5th.
Nopoto urged the youth and young adults that flocked Churchill Park to be more involved in the building of our nation for the future, adding that they are the leaders of tomorrow.
We stumbled every now and then as we learn to stand on our own feet and walk. But we have been strong in that every time we stumbled and fall, we would stand up and try again. until we can stand on our own and now have grown into adulthood.
Madhimbole Tamana, Fiji One News.
The country will be in celebration mode tomorrow to commemorate our 43rd year of independence. But today many had already started the party, marking the event in their own unique way. Our reporter Richard Nath was out and about today and caught up with some who had already started celebrating.
Today is a proud day for us all. For today we assume the control of our own destinies and take on full adult responsibilities.
This was the defining moment in our proud history, the handing over of the documents marking Fiji's independence. That independence was the remains of a great source of pride and joy to all Fiji citizens. And here in the capital, a few business houses, corporate sector and even schools went out of their way to dress up for the occasion. And most were just proud to be Fijians.
Fiji Day basically means that we are celebrating our independence and we are proud to be Fijians.
Fiji Day means that Fiji is independent and like we got freedom and we feel pride of our country, like our country is free. That's all I have to say.
Some schools did reenactments of the history of Fiji with games and songs as they remember this historic day.
You know, the APEC College, we are a multicultural school and we respect all races and culture, and that's what our theme for today is, moving together in unity for prosperous Fiji. And therefore we thought it will be a good idea to amalgamate both the teachers there, children's there, with Fiji Day program.
Decked out in their colourful outfits, the BSP call centre staff took it to a whole new level. Living up to the theme, put up a flag and put down a lovo.
It's just a time to, for me, it's a time to get together with my family, probably over some lunch and maybe a basin of grog.
Fiji Day means a celebration for culturally for everybody individually, Fijian, Indian, Chinese, and it's a celebration of our independence, and it's a great day for us.
Just for family get together and just to behind the nation to celebrate the Fiji Day.
And if you thought BSP went out of their way, check this out for patriotism. The staff of Jack's Fiji gathered in front of the main store in Suva and sang the national anthem with pride.
For me, Fiji Day, I think it's something that we people of Fiji are proud of, and as a nation, and it's always nice for our Jack's group hosting these Fiji flag t-shirts, supporting each and every one of the country. Thank you.
Fiji Day means a lot to us because this is our nation, our beloved nation, our country, and yes, we are inculcating the values that must be learned, and together we can move on.
Fiji Day celebration kicks off tomorrow at Albert Park. Richard Nath, Fiji One News.
French President François Hollande has given his full support to government here as it moves closer to elections. In his Independence Day message to Fiji, the French president says France has taken note of the positive developments in Fiji for the return to democracy in 2014. He also noted the promulgation of the Constitution on September the 6th, saying this was an important step in this process. He adds France and the European Union supported the organization of free and transparent elections in Fiji and encouraged all efforts in this direction. France will also be hosting the 2015 UN Convention on Climate Change, with President Hollande also hoping to get the support of Pacific nations, like Fiji, as part of its environmental diplomacy. US President Barack Obama also sent through a congratulatory message to all Fijians. The president says the United States values its friendship with the Fijian people. He wished the country well, especially in our efforts to head back to democratic rule. President Obama was optimistic that relations between the US and Fiji would continue to strengthen in the future. And remember, the live coverage of Fiji Day celebrations at Albert Park tomorrow will start at 9:25. Be sure to tune in to Fiji One and catch the event. The President Ratu Ipelina Latika will be the chief guest. Today, the world also celebrated World Post Day. And to mark the occasion, our postal service took a walk down memory lane with the Fiji Museum as they unveiled Fiji's first ever mailbox. It was an eye-opener not just for the public but also for staff of Post Fiji, reflecting on our postal service's very humble beginnings. It was also a timely reminder that despite the introduction of new communications technology, the postal box still plays a vital role.
We decided to put a request up to Fiji Museum if they could allow us to display the first mailbox in Fiji inside the post office in Suva. Basically what we wanted to do is just put a message to the staff, management, and hopefully our customers that even though this is a 5-story building we're standing on here today, but that's where it all started.
Post Fiji management staff also took time out today to carry out the duties of tellers serving customers. It was an opportunity for managers and tellers to link up.
So by doing this, what we intend to achieve out of this is for our managers to know what our tellers go through every day, and for our tellers to express to our managers what they do every day, and both of them to work hand in hand to serve at least one customer at a time on October 9.
The latest from around the region is up next. Stay with us. Indonesian President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono has opened an informal session between leaders of some Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation economies and representatives of 4 non-APEC nations from the Pacific Islands. This happened on the sidelines of the 2013 APEC summit in Bali yesterday. The 4 Pacific Island representatives were Anote Tong, the President of Kiribati, Gordon Dasi Lilo, the Prime Minister of the Solomon Islands, our Foreign Minister Ratu Inoke Kumbuombola, as well as Marshall Islands Special Envoy Tom Kijiner. APEC leaders that attended that meeting included Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott and South Korean President Park Geun-hye, as well as Peruvian Foreign Minister Ido Rivas and US Secretary of State John Kerry. As the host of this year's APEC summit, Indonesia invited the 4 Pacific nations to be APEC's special guests.
After all, we are one global community. For many reasons, we have learned many lessons, and I think, Your Excellency, you referred to the issue of climate change. As countries of the Pacific, we are one of the most vulnerable, and while things unfolded, events unfolded in different parts of the globe, we stood by while this was happening. And I think this is the mistake that perhaps we made. We don't want to keep doing this, and so this is the opportunity to interact, because in terms of climate change, there are no borders, there are no groupings, and it is a classic example of where we should have been engaged.
Samoa's Prime Minister has called on all Samoan women to stay away from international beauty contests. According to Fairfax Media in New Zealand, Tuilaiapa said this is because such contests often favour thinner women. Miss Samoa Janine Tuivaiti had failed to reach the finals of the recent Miss World. Prime Minister Tuilaiapa Sailele says in Samoa, big women are often admired. He adds that in Samoa and other parts of the Pacific, there was a preference for what he describes as, quote, the big, healthy, voluptuous girl, unquote. He went on to say one reason for this was simply because there was plenty of chow in Samoa. Samoa has one of the world's highest obesity rates. Business News Tonight, Telecom Fiji Limited launched a new product today called Nongubiti or My Fiji. Company executives say it is all about rewarding civil servants for their tireless service. So what is it exactly?
The voice plan itself, with a five monthly rental, these government workers will get 500 minutes of free calls, on-net calls on TFL landline and CDMA wireless lines, and 100 text messages per month.
The sign-up period for this particular product plan is up until the end of the month. However, there will be minimal changes to subscription prices once this sign-up period is closed.
As for the data plan, it's a Connect Velocity plan that we're offering at $30 a month VIP, and that includes 20 GB of data. As you know, normally you pay $30 for 5 GB data on the Connect plan. So you're getting 15 GB free additional data. The speeds are up to 10 megabytes per second, so essentially you can easily watch a movie without any buffering or any breakages in your movies. We also give what we call a e-video dongle, so it lets you use your data, that same data account, while being away from home, being out and about.
Over as Group Chief Executive Officer of Telecom Fiji Limited, Motilal De Silva has identified priority areas to focus on. This includes revenue maximization, cost optimization and integrating the company's business units, areas he says are important in terms of business sustainability.
Then the other priority is monetizing existing resources, because over a period of time, the last decade, the company had invested in a lot of resources like next generation technology and then CDMA, then fiber. So getting maximum return out of this investment is also one of my priorities. So I will focus in these 4 areas. So we are making plans, different programs to realize these objectives.
Jenny, next with sport, and the build-up at the Gold Coast continues for Fiji.
That's right. Our boys are hard at work in preparation for the big weekend. We'll bring you more details after the break. Also ahead, Sevens captain meet for the first time. And Fiji FA confirm new vice president. Good evening. The Fiji Sevens team went through their only scrimmage session against their pool opponent Portugal this morning. The boys were exposed to their weak areas and are expected to polish them up before they march into their title defense from Saturday. The 16 teams' captains gathered for a photo shoot early this morning. While it was quite a long day for them, the IRB World Sevens Series champions New Zealand are hopeful of making a flying start this season.
Lining up for the team captains meet early this morning at the Gold Coast Surfers Paradise Beach. The 16 team captains facing each other for the first time ahead of the tournament.
It's a bit long and the photo shoot took a little bit longer, but it's okay. We have a pretty good chance as the boys selected up for the job at the weekend.
The IRB World Sevens champions, New Zealand, also part of the session, and Captain DJ Forbes revealing the team's aim coming into the tournament.
Last year, we lost in the finals to Fiji, so I think in terms of winning tournaments, it doesn't always go to plan. Like I mentioned earlier, I think it's that ability of having tournaments together.
These players will have a huge role in leading their side in the 2-day tournament. All look focused and determined ahead of the great battle.
There's no easy teams in the Sevens World Series anymore. Every game's going to be a big game. Spanish will provide tough opposition, as will the French, and then South Africa coming second in the world last year is going to be a big challenge at the end.
Also coming with high aims, the Oceania Sevens champions Samoa.
We did well last week in Fiji, the Oceania Sevens. So it's only 5 of them joining this team. So 7 of us remain from the last year, and the 5 newcomers inside.
16 teams, 2 days and 48 games to play all together, and all with the same hope to claim the prestigious silverware on Sunday. In Gold Coast, Vashnil Prasad, Fiji One News.
The Kenya Sevens team has been in Australia for a week, getting familiar with the hot conditions. The side had a light pool session today as they start to round up with their preparations. The side will have only 4 experienced players in the squad and hopes to make it through the eliminations.
I want to believe that we are prepared well.
We've been here for a week already. We came last week, so we've been down at Brisbane, acclimatizing with the Australian atmosphere. So we are pretty psyched up for this tournament.
And Fiji's first game opponent, Canada, is brimming with confidence to create the upset on Saturday in the Gold Coast Sevens. The side, which had caused upset against Fiji in the past, has brought in an experienced squad to kick off the IRB's first tournament. They had their last training run this morning where they worked on their set pieces. Canada has come in with an aim of at least reaching the Cup quarterfinals.
Oh, it's been good. Yeah, we just got here a couple days ago. Just trying to get acclimatized to the heat and getting our sleep patterns right and stuff like that. I know some of the boys have been having some early mornings, but no, we're just looking to get ready for this weekend, for Saturday.
The Fiji Football Association has again announced a financial loss during their annual Congress today for the year. The Fiji FA made a loss of $34,000 for their financial year ending 30th June 2013. Last year, the association made a huge loss of $302,000.
We are on the good turnaround. This account is up to June 2013. The FAP funds from Oceania didn't come through, and if that would have come through, we would have gone into the positive. And from last year, where we had a big deficit, and this year we have turned it around, and this is due to the system we put in place and trying to manage the funds and areas very strictly.
There were also 6 motions put forward in the Congress by the district officials today. Some got passed while few were rejected by the board.
The motion by Nandi to play promotion relegation, again, instead of automatic promotion relegation, was rejected by the districts. And because it was not in proper order, it needed to be rescinded first before a new motion can be put in. And motion by Fiji FA for the players that is developed in the districts. And if they've got no contract and if they can prove that they have come through the Fiji FA system or the district system, $5,000, maximum up to $5,000 compensation needs to be paid. And this was all passed in this year.
A former National League Board Secretary has become the new Vice President of the Fiji Football Association. Janendra Suku was elected to the post after winning the most votes at the Fiji FA Annual Congress in Lautoka today. Suku beat sitting Vice President Ravin Swamy and candidate Arvind Dutt for the Southern post. Jitendra Kumar and Gurjab Prasad have been retained unopposed for the other 2 VP's posts in the West and North respectively.
To win against a sitting candidate is very difficult, especially when he is supported by the officials. But as a result, I am very happy with the result, and I think this is why it is like that, because I have served the district honestly, and now it's the payback time, and districts have voted for me.
Excitement of the Inter-District Championships has been echoed by the players. Each and every participant is looking to put their best foot forward in the football extravaganza for the next 4 days.
176 football players from the 8 Super Premier teams are thirsty of a win at this weekend's Sports IDC in the final major tournament of the year.
It will be a good tournament and a tough tournament for the 8 teams fighting for the IDC title for the year 2018.
The occasion is a simple one as they hope to lay their hands on this ultimate prize, the Lloyd Fairbrother Trophy. Lautoka midfielder Zibra Sahib is hoping his experience can help lead the side to win a silverware.
It's a last major tournament in Fiji, and we have prepared well, and we hope to do well because we know other teams will do their best. So we, as the host, we are trying to do the best for the fans and for the people of Lautoka.
Players have been giving their best in training with their respective districts. Their sacrifice and hard work will be put to the test from tomorrow in the 5-day tournament.
It's 60 minutes, not 90 that we're used to, and it's very less time, so the pace of the game in every game will be fast, in fast pace.
But for this man, this year's IDC is going to be more special. He scored the winning goal in last year's controversial IDC final for Suva.
Was Suva team. We will try to defend this title, because defending the title is not easy.
The wait is to see who gets the chance to lift the Lloyd Fairbrother Trophy come Sunday afternoon in Lautoka. Irfan Khan, Fiji One News.
Nandit football side is hoping to repeat the magic of their Fiji APEC win at the IDC this weekend. Coach Kamal Swami has mapped out his plan that could see the Jet Setters take off in the tournament. The APEC champions lost their rhythm in the BOG and is now leaving no stones unturned in their preparations for the IDC.
Nini team is they prefer 90-minute soccer, and whole of the year and 2 tournaments we played 90 minutes. And now we're going in 60 minutes. It's really tough.
Nandi faces a tough challenge in pool play after being drawn with Nandronga, Navua and champs Suva. The Jet Setters last won the IDC 10 years ago. They will play their opening match against Navua at 3:30 p.m. tomorrow.
We are aiming to win this IDC, and every team is going for that too, and hope everything is in our way.
Rewat football side has high hopes of doing well at the IDC. Players and officials seeking divine intervention before their departure for Lautoka tonight. The spiritual guidance should come in handy for the side despite the small outings at the Fiji APEC and BOG early this year. The Delta hopes to redeem themselves at this weekend's IDC.
Expectation is to perform better than the last 2 tournaments, and I think we still have same boys and mixed up with young players. We still yet to give our best this year.
Rewa will go into the tournament with all local-based players. The Delta Tigers are in a pool of death. They face Lautoka, Ba and Lambasa in pool stages.
It's a tough pool. It really boils down back to preparation, and I think we are psychologically prepared for all these tough matches coming across through the IDC.
And if you can't be in Lautoka, we'll bring the action to you from the IDC, only on Sky Pacific's pay-per-view channel this weekend. There'll be live coverage of 6 pool matches, starting with the opening game of the tournament between defending champions Suva and Nandronga from tomorrow. Both Super Premier semi-finals starting at 9 a.m. and the main final will also be aired live on Sunday 13th October. Contact the Sky Pacific office in Suva, Lambasa, Nandi or Lautoka to pay $59.95 to be able to watch live actions from the IDC this weekend. Going back to our earlier story, the Fiji Sevens team went through their only scrimmage session against their pool opponent, Portugal, this morning. The boys were exposed to their weak areas and are expected to polish them up before they march into their title defense from Saturday.
Testing the set pieces and tactics, the Digicel Fiji Sevens team went through a scrimmage against Portugal, and it's the first time for coach Ben Ryan to watch this 12-member squad play before the Gold Coast Sevens.
We want to make sure the boys have a bit of a blowout, have a hard session. So yesterday was my first training session, so they all new to them, you know, and it was a bit up and down. Today was a lot better. They were really clued in, I think.
Fiji polished on their set pieces and lineouts and hoping things to go their way. Former captain Benito Masilevo.
Everything went well, but one thing that I told the boys is it's all about communicating on the field. If there is a lack of communication, then it will be hard for us, especially when we're defending. So we need to talk.
Surely with him, other experienced players will have a huge role to play this weekend. They're expected to set an example ahead of their title defense.
Some practicing our passing, our scrimmaging, our scrum. We're looking forward for better skills and for the games in the Gold Coast Sevens this weekend.
Coach Ben Ryan knows that this scrimmaging is very important for him and also for the team. With Portugal also in the pool, the team is expected to get the feel well before the time.
I didn't think we would give too much away that they don't already know, but I think it gave the boys a good opportunity to see how they set up off kickoffs and also show their strengths for Portugal, that their line-out was strong.
The boys surely have a zeal to play for Fiji, but will they be tuned up for the 2-day games is a question. In Gold Coast, Vashnil Prasad, Fiji One News.
Saw the return of our Paralympic hero Eliasa Delana to the tracks. The event saw him back in action again since competing at the State Championships in Australia in January. It was also special as this was the first time he competed at the brand new ANZ Stadium.
starting and trying to go back on track. So from now on, just to start things sticking close to track. I feel like building a home nearby, just to wake up every morning and go on the track.
The Vodafone Fiji Bati present their Itatau today to the head of the nation. The experience was a particularly special one for the oldest and most experienced player.
The final words from the president, today's Itatau was the first ever for the Vodafone Fiji Bati captain.
A privilege, to be here and it's such a special place, and obviously to meet the president. As I said, it's a huge moment for our team.
For 10 years, the former Kangaroo did things differently with the green and gold, before making a shock comeback this year to lead his home team.
It's an amazing moment for not only myself, my family, and for all the boys and their families to be able to wear that Bati jersey, to represent Fiji on the other side of the world. I think it's going to be a huge honour, no doubt.
At 37 years of age, Petero Thibunithaba is just starting to make his name in the white of the Bati, just like he did while playing 45 times for Australia.
Playing against the Kangaroos, I guess there won't be too many mixed emotions. There's a job to do, and I'll be wearing the Fijian jersey proudly.
The last Tatau from the Fijian Bati to the World Cup was 5 years ago.
The well wishes that I give you are the well wishes from your grandparents, grandfathers, grandmothers, aunts, uncles, everybody in Fiji.
His Excellency reminding our national side of the task that lays ahead.
On behalf of all the people of Fiji, the government, and on my own behalf, I wish you all the best.
The side flies out on Monday. William Tambuya, Fiji One News.
And that's our sports news tonight.
Thanks, Jenny. Stay with us. We have world news from our global news partner, CNN, after the break. More details are emerging about 2 U.S. military operations in Africa last weekend. The operations targeted what officials called high-value terrorism suspects. The CNN's Barbara Starr with the story.
In southern Somalia, it quickly became the most dangerous mission for SEAL Team 6 since they killed Osama bin Laden, according to one senior U.S. military official. The mission? To secretly enter a hostile town, capture and bring back alive a man known as Akrima, a top operative in Al-Shabaab, the Somali-based Al-Qaeda affiliate. A man the U.S. believes is planning more attacks. But after the SEALs make their way to their target, a heavily defended seaside villa, they are spotted. A massive firefight breaks out as more and more militants gather. The SEALs cannot capture the target, they abort the mission. A top Pentagon official insists the SEALs were not run off by Al-Shabaab fighters.
Military personnel who were on this objective during the raid literally went to the doorstep of this Al-Shabaab terrorist and discovered that there were civilians in the surrounding area.
A military source says the SEALs also report they saw children at the compound, another factor in ending the raid. And he says there are other U.S. forces nearby to respond if the fight had grown worse. We are also getting a clearer picture of the mission in Libya. In Tripoli, Army Delta Force commandos in 4 vehicles surround Abu Anus al-Libi, a senior Al-Qaeda operative, while he is still in his car. His son shows us the vehicle. Shattered glass from smashed-in windows, the only evidence of a very different capture mission that was successful and over in moments.
A tradition of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit has been revived this year. This is after a 3-year break. That saw APEC leaders wearing colourful Indonesian batiks, the equivalent to ambula shirts here. The traditional informal wear is popular in Indonesia. Coming in various colours from blue to purple, green and even red, APEC leaders attended a gala dinner in their various Bali colours. The shirts are made out of local silk, fabric called andak. Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott and Russian President Vladimir Putin both looked a little odd in their colours. China's President Xi Jinping was in his usual red, and US Secretary of State John Kerry wore a purple shirt. Rain was experienced over the northern division today. Afternoon showers prevailed elsewhere. A trough of low pressure lies slow moving over the Solomons and extends southeastwards over Fiji. Recapping the headlines, myth linked to treatment fears leading to high blindness cases. Immigration Department keeps close tabs on foreign workers' permits, and ACP Henry Brown cleared of allegations and takes up new post within Fiji Police Force. That's Fiji One News. Thanks for joining us. Have a good evening.